If you ask me what is the biggest problem in Nigeria, it is not what you think it is. I don't think it is corruption. I don't think it's any of those things you mentioned. I don't even think it is insecurity. The biggest problem is ignorance, lack of knowledge. If you have knowledge, if you're not ignorant, you will be able to solve the other problems. Of course, if you were not ignorant, you will elect politicians who will serve your best interest. So ignorance is the foundational problem. That is where every other problem rests. And you should understand, at least at your own personal level, make sure you're not an ignorant person. You have to be logical. You have to ask questions. You have to probe yourself. Don't rush to react. Understand that probably the greatest enemy you have in your life is yourself. Because you're the one that prevents yourself from knowledge. You're the one that fails to check yourself. You're the one that doesn't know when to stop, when to wait, when to think. You are the one pushing yourself into all those things you do that are negative. Let me give you instances of example. That's just abundant signs of ignorance. If you walk up to me and say to me, Emeka, I will not support you blindly. That's you walk up to me and you say to me, Emeka, I will not support you blindly. I will say, of course. I expect you to be convinced. I expect you to ask me questions. I expect you to evaluate whatever I tell you. I'm not expecting you to support me blindly. Indeed, it would be strange if I know you supported me blindly. That's how I will react. That's how a wise person will react if you tell him you will not support him blindly. But if you say on Facebook that I will not support the Igbos blindly, so many Igbo people will start attacking you. They're attacking you because you said you will not support them blindly. Okay. What if I had said the opposite? That I will support the Igbos blindly. Does that mean that the Igbos will be happy that they're being supported blindly? Ignorance is the biggest challenge. Many of those things you fight over, many of those things you thought of the other side, all of them are false because you are ignorant. We will solve Nigerian problem if we can cure the foundational ignorance. It is ignorance that makes you think that the Yoruba people is different from the Igbo, are different from the Igbos, or the Igbos are different from the Yoruba people, to the extent of them having conflicts. It's ignorance. You don't understand what it's saying. I made a post about Joe Igbokwe. Joe Igbokwe went to the market and people jeered at him. They insulted him. That was wrong. Joe Igbokwe is a good man. I like Joe Igbokwe. He's objective. He's not biased. He's free. He's critical of his people, just as I am critical of my people. Oh yes, I'm critical of the Igbos, just as Joe Igbokwe is. But there's a difference between me and Joe Igbokwe. The difference is that I do not have blind allegiance to any other group. I do not have anybody in this world that I must support regardless of what he does. But Joe Igbokwe has such people. Joe Igbokwe must support APC. Joe Igbokwe must support Ashwaju. Whatever Ashwaju does. Even if Ashwaju goes into the street and kills people now with a gun, Joe Igbokwe will support him. That is the difference between us. I am free. Joe Igbokwe is not free. Joe Igbokwe is aligned. I am not aligned. But by and large, Joe Igbokwe is a good guy. I have nothing against him. So, but when he went there and the Igbos began to jeer at him, and he came out and said, well, if they do it, this is not the Igbo, they'll be arrested, blah, 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 blah. I knew he was angry, and I sympathized with him. But the fact remains, fundamentally, that Joe forgot why he was liked. Why is he welcome? Why is he loved by the Yoruba or the Lagos political establishment? Why? It is not because they did not find anyone else among the Yorubas who could do whatever Joe has been doing for them. It was because they felt the need to have an inclusive society. If you have millions of Igbos in Lagos, then you must bring Igbos into the government. And this is the point I've been making to you, that as a politician, it's not by charity that you appoint people. You don't appoint people just because you want to be nice to them. You appoint people because they will help advance your political interest. So any governor of Lagos State who ignores the Igbos completely is foolish. Why? Because Igbos are millions in Lagos and they vote. Their vote is important. You need those votes. So what do? You include Igbos in your government. But you must include Igbos that are liberal, who are not against you. So Joe Igbokwe is in Lagos State government because he is a representative of the Igbo community in Lagos, as the government sees it. So Joe Igbokwe is the bridge connecting the government with the Igbo communities. And as you know, every bridge must stand on both ends. It doesn't stand on one end alone. So if Joe Igbokwe loses popularity or hated by the Igbo community in Lagos, however right he is, however justified he is, it is going to impose upon him political liability. He will no longer be able to represent the Igbo communities. Instead, his presence begins to antagonize, becomes something that attracts hatred to whoever appointed him. So Joe is in a dilemma, because on the one hand, he's right. Nobody has right to bully him. Nobody has right to intimidate him. Nobody has right to jeer at him in the marketplace. Joe should be able to walk freely without fear or concern or intimidation or blackmail. But Joe cannot turn his back to the Igbos in Lagos. He cannot completely cut them off. If he does so, he will undermine himself and diminish his relevance in the Lagos political class. So, being a politician means that he cannot do what I do. For me to be able to tell people to go to hell and abuse them and tell them, go insult your father, I'm able to do it because I know I'm not asking for your votes. If I were asking for your votes, I will never talk that way. I'll begin to take your nonsense. I'll begin to tolerate your nonsense. I'll hate you in my heart, but I will not say it. That's how politicians do. So Joe is a politician, and my advice to Joe Igbokwe is, even though you're right, my brother, I know you're right. But when you're dealing with these people, be very careful. Don't get angry with them, manage them, tolerate their nonsense. Okay? So, Iyendeba. Isn't that what that crazy man from Port Harcourt says? Iyendeba. So I said that to Joe. You have to give the Igbos, Igbo, Lagos, Igbo. That is the balancing act you have to do so that you can sustain your relevance. Because if you completely turn your back to the Igbos, you defeat the purpose for which you were in the first place brought into the fold. Okay? And you can never completely become a Yoruba man, in the sense that whatever role a Yoruba man is going to play, you cannot quite play that role in terms of community building and community mobilization and leadership. There are millions of Igbos in Lagos. So every political establishment in Lagos must take them into account. Otherwise, they will undermine you and you lose the election. So, Joe Igbokwe, I know you sometimes listen to my programs, even though you have been very careful about me, because I'm very critical of every government. And sometimes I'll criticize people you work with, and you don't want to associate with me so they don't attribute my views to you. I understand that, Joe. But if you are seeing this, I encourage you. Try to mend fences with the Igbos. Try to show them you are not against their interests. Try to show them that you are their brother and that you are trying to teach them and to guide them in the right path. So, Joe, if I were you, I will organize to attend meetings of Igbo communities, Igbo town unions in Lagos. Go there, introduce yourself, say, brothers, I'm here, we are together, we are working together, we love you. But you know, there are mistakes we cannot afford to make. And you make your argument, you win some souls. So before you know it, you continue to sustain your support among the Igbo community. That's my advice to you. Do you understand, Joe? You take care and God bless you. And again, I apologize for what happened. It shouldn't have happened. The mob has no right to intimidate you or harass you. Okay? You have your freedom of speech. But remember, you're a politician. I'm not a politician. So I can tell anybody to go to hell. And I will not worry about what they think. But if I were a politician, first I will have to follow my godfather. If I'm a politician working with a minister or a senator, first and foremost, before I say anything about government, I will ask myself, what would my boss, the senator I represent, what does he think? By the way, let me tell you something. One senator, very powerful senator in Nigeria, close friend of mine, he wanted me to work for him. He did everything. He wanted me to work for him. He called me great names, said I was wonderful. But guess what? I liked him. He's a good guy to me. But do you know why I didn't want to work for him? I said to him, if I work for you, you're either going to have problems with the presidency or you'll be forced to fire me. He said, why? I said, because you may not always like the things I'm going to say. And I will not clear with you things before I say them. He said, what do you mean, Emeka? I said, listen, I don't think like a politician. So if I'm listening to TV and I see the president talk nonsense, I will say the president is talking nonsense. But you won't like it because I'm your assistant, advisor, and you and I are meeting the president. The president will not be happy hearing that Emeka said he's talking nonsense. I don't want to live a life where I cannot express myself without getting your permission. So I don't think it is in your interest for me to work for you in that sense. The man was surprised. I said I can't work for you in that sense. However, if you seek my advice behind the scene on any matter strategy, I will give it to you. But not to come out there, be in your office and people are seeing me as your assistant. No. You will get into trouble that way. So that is my approach. Everybody should know that. And that's one thing I don't want to lose. Look at me. I can blast the Igbos if they fuck up. I can blast the Yorubas if they fuck up. I don't give a shit what they think. Why? Because I'll never ask for their votes. I never ask for your vote. And if I'm not going to ask for your votes, I don't care what you think. That freedom means so much to me. It means so much to me. And by the way, that is the beauty of this page, Ekulo. Ekulo is a group that is not Igbo or Yoruba. So that's why sometimes I get up, I bash the Yoruba, bash Awolowo, bash anybody who messes up, who I think is wrong. And then the Yorubas will cry, yeah, he's bigot, he's changing his color, he's a bad man, he's Igbo man, he's Igbo man, yeah. I'll be laughing at them. And then when it is necessary, I bash the Igbos, bash IPOB, bash everybody. Then the Igbos will go crazy. And when the Igbos are angry, I'm laughing, I'm watching the Yorubas are praising me. Oh, wonderful, the tribalized man, great man. Oh, God bless you. You are talking to the Igbos, they are bad people, blah, 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 blah. The Yorubas are praising me. The Igbos are crying. I'll sit this way, watch. I'll make my next post. This next post will hit the Yorubas. I will not post it immediately. I will schedule it. I will say, set it to post in the next 5 hours. Or I can even set it to post by 6 a.m. the next day. I put it there. So in the night, the Yorubas were happy. They were calling me the tribalized man. And the Igbos are angry. Very angry. Calling me names. I'll be sleeping. By 6 a.m., my post will come. And this one is against Awolowo. So the same Yorubas who were praising me last night will go mad. And the same Igbos who were cursing me last night will say, aha, he's right. He's right. I cannot wait for the time when you will all become reasonable and logical. So you no longer judge things on the surface. Why can't we discuss war crime? Why can't we discuss war crime? What's wrong about it? Oh, because if we discuss war crime, that will help the Igbos, the bad people. You hate them. So this subject of war crime is actually a very important thing that we're supposed to know more about. However, because it may favor the Igbos, I don't want to talk about it. Or because they may mention Awolowo, I don't want to talk about it. You're hurting yourself. And then you tell the Igbos that the IPOB is misleading them. Oh, because you said misleading them, they hate you. But look at Nnamdi Kanu. What did Nnamdi Kanu tell you? What did Nnamdi Kanu achieve for you? Nothing. If you repeat Nnamdi Kanu, if you grant Nnamdi Kanu pardon and ask him to repeat what he did, he will still end up in the same place 20 times. Every time he will end up in disaster. It's not going to work that way. It will not work that way. It has never worked that way anywhere in history. Very basic thing. If I have a problem and you recommend a solution, and the solution you recommend will kill me faster than the problem, I cannot say that because I have a problem, I will do whatever you tell me to do. I will ask myself, does it make sense? Will it help me? Will it change my life? That is, hello there, Christopher. How are you? So that is the thing. You love Nnamdi Kanu, you don't love Nnamdi Kanu, whatever you do, what they did in IPOB is nonsense. It will end up where it ended up. He's even lucky. Nnamdi is lucky he was dealing with an inept and corrupt government. If he was dealing with a legitimate, serious government, they would have dealt with him long time ago. You go and open a radio and tell people, go to police station, take their weapon, kill them. You won't be allowed to say it twice. That'll be the last broadcast you will make. Anywhere in the world. But you don't know. Nnamdi was right. Look at everything Nnamdi said has happened. And what? So if it happened, that's why you should go and raise the ESN and start killing people? Are you mad? If I say the Igbos say, I know that, so he's annoying us. So what do you want me to do, Igbo people? Do you want me to recommend to you to continue with what IPOB was doing, ESN was doing? Do you want me to recommend that to you? Are you stupid? It's not going to work. Find something better to do. Try something else. That IPOB method is crap. It's not going to work. If I say it, you say you're able, you're getting angry with me. You can get as angry as you are. I am free. I will say whatever I like. And for you guys, the Yoruba people, I watched you. I made a post. And you say that the Igbos are snakes and these things. If you say that, I know you're an animal. That was when you thought you made me angry. How can Igbos be snake? How can you Ijos be snake? How can any human being be snake if you're not an idiot? And you began to say, Igbos should leave Lagos. Igbos are not leaving damn Lagos. Lagos belongs to all of us. Listen, Lagos belongs to the Lagosians. Who are the Lagosians? Lagosians are people who live in Lagos. It's not only Lagos. Cairo belongs to people in Cairo. Abuja belongs to people who live in Abuja. That's how it is. They are the residents. They are the Lagosians. But you think that a man born in Ondo who had never been to Lagos all his life, Lagos belongs to him. Because for you, in your mind, you already said Lagos belongs to Yoruba. Are you nuts? No city belongs to any original indigenous ancestral communities. Every city belongs to people who occupy the city, who is resident there. That's what it is. The landowners. You have a plot of land, you bought it, that's yours. Okay, thank you very much. I'm low on battery. We'll continue next time. Okay? But get these things into your heads, okay? Don't give me that crappy thing. Enugu is my state. It belongs to people who live there. Every city belongs to people who live there.
In the heart of the city where stories unfold, Gentle Media TV, shining bright and bold, bringing news from the corners of the globe. Connects us together, no matter the road. Watch us rise, hear the voices roar. Unity and diversity, together we soar.